Okay, so I finished playing some of the prologue of Wuthering Waves, just like part of Act 1, and I have to say that I'm very confused with how the storytelling is being portrayed to us, especially for an introduction to the game, the story, and just the overall world. And I want to talk about why this is not very good. So, this is some of my gameplay that I recorded. So the issue that I have is that there isn't really anything that I'm able to take away from this story because of how vague things are. There is no dialogue, there is no context as to why this is happening. Like, why is she putting her hand inside the main character? Why are they separating? The only thing that I can really take away from this is that the mysterious woman here that is seemingly sad, like her facial expressions have some sadness to them, but I don't know what to do with that. Right? The whole vagueness of it makes it hard for me to remember anything. In fact, I couldn't even remember what her design is until I came back to watching my gameplay because it's just too forgettable, right? So the whole issue is that even though there are things here that could be coming up long term in the storytelling, it is forgettable because of how plain it is. There's nothing of substance that I can take away from the intro. Let's move on to when we meet Yang Yang and Qixia. So, this is the issue where there is going from zero, where we had nothing in the introduction, and then when we have too many things, too many jargon, and too much dialogue that's happening, unironically. There are quite literally too many terms and lore being thrown out just to a character that has been established as someone who literally doesn't know anything about this world. And also by the character, I mean both this main rover character and us, the audience, because we also don't know anything about the world. And yet, names and terms are just being thrown out left and right. I have a list of every jargon and lore related word that comes up in the first few minutes of the intro. And it's surprising because this is way too much stuff for an introduction when we have nothing to go off of. Here's another issue where we suddenly lock eyes with this dragon statue, and then we have a face to face similar to the introduction because, again, there's no dialogue, there is no context as to why this is happening. And so we're left wondering, how do we interpret this scene? And yeah, Yang Yang goes to try and explain what's happening, but then she just introduces a bunch of lore about these sentinels and things. But again, like, yeah, see, we don't know what to do with it. When she just introduced to us the whole world in too many terms with the whole tacit discords and such, and yet there's yet another different thing that's happening. So the focus is too broad, it needs to be more specific. So they've established that there's like some lore tutorial that they're giving to us, but then this is conflicted because we're also going through a gameplay tutorial at the same time. So it's like they're teaching us how to do two different things, how to play the game, and then also how to engage with the story, which is a problem because, again, we don't know anything about both. And so it's information overload. Am I supposed to focus on the gameplay and remember the gameplay terms, like the whole resonance, the outro skills, and such? Or am I supposed to try and focus on the story? Well, it's hard to focus on both. So, despite all that, here's where I think the biggest sin happens in this introduction, where we're about to view Jinzhou, and then we get the Breath of the Wild shot where the camera pans from the characters into a panoramic view of the world. Again, this is beautiful. This world looks pretty cool. I'm down to explore it. But then instead of letting us take it in, we just get hit by more dialogue and more explanations as to what's happening. And this takes away from the view because now instead of looking at the view, I'm trying to look at the dialogue as well to see, wait, what is the whole Rock Highland and the whole Norfall Barrens? Does that mean anything to me? Is that important right now? Do I need to remember? And then I forget about this view, and so there's another contrast here. There's another conflict, right? By showing us the view of the whole Jinzhou, it's sort of telling me, oh, let's go ahead and explore it. But then now we're focused on this scene into this other forced cutscene where we're now detracting away from the view and then trying to go fight a boss instead. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I haven't played through the rest of the story, and I plan to after this video. There's a lot of potential here, I see. I'm just a little sad that there's just too much going on and too much information overload. I don't know what to focus on. And it's contributed to making the gameplay experience just tougher for me to appreciate and to enjoy. But yeah, I mean, this game has a lot of good going for it. Like the combat's pretty cool. It's just a shame because I feel like an introduction like this can take away players' interest in continuing the game when we know, well, I guess when we assume that the game has a lot of good stuff in the future. So, anyways, that's it for this one. Just a short little rant, I suppose. Touched on my storytelling nerves, so I figured I'd just make a video about it. But yeah, that's it for that. Thank you for watching. Catch you later. Bye.